What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gucci Garage. Today we have the 2018 Buick Encore. This is the Preferred Edition 2. Let's get down into the review and test drive of it. So starting out in the 2018 Buick Encore, this car is actually surprising me a lot with what you get for $28,000. Now that's not a super low amount of money by any means, but it's not an extremely high amount. With what you get for this car is you get a leather wrap steering wheel, leather bolstering with cloth in the middle on all of the seats with leather headrests. You get leather all across the dashboard of it, and you get various controls for your steering wheel, which you get in most cars these days. This car features a 1.4 liter turbocharged engine, which is actually pretty small of an engine, but where this car benefits is you get extremely good gas mileage from having such a small engine. This car will get you well over 30 to 35 miles per gallon easy with having such a small engine. As you've probably seen in my previous videos, I have a 2010 Toyota Prius, which I get about 40 miles per gallon, and that has a 1.8. So this theoretically should be able to surpass that car. And this car does not weigh a lot either. This car does not weigh a lot either. Excuse me, sorry. You have a full infotainment center on this car. You have, which is actually very nice. You have 4G LTE connectivity, which you get in most cars by Chevy nowadays. But you don't get the small little tiny screen like you do in some cars. Ford especially likes to do this, where if you buy the not quite the premium version, so you don't buy the base, but you don't buy the premium, so you don't get the touchscreen infotainment center, you get a little push button thing. And with this, that's just not the case. You get a full size infotainment center. You have a lot of gauges in the instrument cluster. It gives you your miles per hour, your tachometer, which is nice to see. I'm glad they didn't go full digital dash on this. But you also have a nice screen in the middle that gives you lots of information. It tells you your range, your oil, and various other things, your tire pressure, which is very nice to have. There's also a tire pressure monitoring system on your spare. If that for some reason starts to go low, it will alert you that you need to fill it up so that you're not stuck without a spare if you need it. Speaking about the wheels and tires, this car has 18-inch wheels, which are very nice. They're a nice alloy two-tone wheel, and in my opinion, they really make the car look very nice. This car features almost a slap shift, but not really. It has two buttons on top of the shifter for shifting gears. It has a manual mode, which is nice. I would have liked to have seen paddle shifters. A lot of times you see paddle shifters on performance cars, but they offer a manual mode, and I really would prefer that they put the paddle shifters even on their cars like this that aren't necessarily performance oriented. But if you're putting that option, it's a lot easier to be able to actually use the mode if you're just slapping the paddles versus trying to reach down, press the button. It's just a little more cumbersome, I feel like. We're gonna be turning onto a back road here. We're gonna see just how well that 1.4 liter engine that this car has, we'll see how well it gets up to speed. So we'll put my foot down. As I'm sure you can hear, it roars to life. And that's about 60. It gets up and goes. It's no slouch. As soon as you get past around 3,000 RPMs is where the turbo really starts to spool up and give you that power that you need, that extra oomph. Because without that turbo, this 1.4 would be pretty gutless. You have OnStar in this car, as Chevy has been doing that with a lot of their cars, even their base models. You still get OnStar, which is nice, but you also have navigation in this, since you have the touchscreen display, Bluetooth obviously, and all the creature comforts of that. This car also features a blind spot monitoring system, so you don't have to worry if someone's about turning into someone, because it lights up either side of the mirror to let you know if someone's over there, so that you don't accidentally bump into them. It also has a rear camera for backing up, which when I was using it, it was very, very nice. It helps you and it gives you the little lines so that you know where you're going. The storage space in the Buick Encore is actually very nice. You have a lot of room in the trunk, which is actually a lift gate, not a trunk. You have a lot of space back there to fit whatever you want, and you have a 60-40 split on the rear seats, so you can actually have even more. Room in the back seats is good. This is a SUV type car. It's comparable to the Ford Escape. So you have, I'd say you have about the same room as the 2005 era Ford Escapes, maybe a little less than the new ones. I sit all the way back, so the person behind me they have about a good half foot to maybe a foot of legroom back there, but that's me being a 6'7" person. Which, speaking of how tall I am, I actually fit extremely well in the front seat of this car. I don't feel cramped, and I actually have a little bit more room to go back if I wanted to. So that's very nice that you have all that space, and the passenger side actually has a lot of space as well. With this car, you have multi-functions for the seat adjustment. You can go back, forward, up and down, and it will actually tilt back and forth whichever way you'd like, if you'd like your legs to be kind of lifted up a little, or however you want. The driving experience, I am very impressed with this car. It handles extremely well. It's very nimble, especially for an SUV. You wouldn't expect it to have that good of handling. You have automatic halogen bulbs for your headlights, which are, I can't really tell because it's not nighttime how well they work, but they're projectors, so I would assume that they work very well. Previous ones I've used of Chevy, they work quite well. They've really got their lights patted down. Well, closing remarks on the 2018 Buick Encore. This is a very nice car. I'm very impressed with it. Not just the build quality of it, but the overall performance, the way the suspension handles, and the way that this being a SUV, compact SUV type car, it really takes the corners very nicely, and it just feels planted, and it kind of looks like a taller car, but you don't feel going around the bends, it doesn't feel like it's gonna tip over or anything like some cars you get that feeling. That's gonna wrap it up for this review. Remember, keep it Gucci.